Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. You may have noticed something a little different. Honestly, it started with a chair, but it turned into a giving a mouse a cookie scenario, and now we have a whole set. Today we'll be making my D&D Druid, Sinjay Bainray. We're going to start a bit differently this time, you know, just feeling some things out. So let's hop in. To start off, we're going to use this base I sketched ages ago. I have a few of them. Sinjay's a drow, so of course she'll need elf ears. Add in her owlbear feather earring for good measure. She cut her hair after escaping the Underdark, so I like to keep it nice and choppy. She wears a corset and pants with ties on the side. I'm not sure why I made that decision, it was years ago. I still like it. Her goggles were made by the party's artificer, as drow have penalties in sunlight due to the brightness and mostly living underground. These will go through some changes in the final product. I sketched out some details on the side to reference later. Drow have dark grayish purple skin, so I blocked that in. I'm just gonna messy color. Not sure why I colored the lenses green, I meant to do purple. From her father, Jarvel, she inherited heterochromia, so she'll get one blue eye and one gold. We're going to use this WWE Superstars Diva Becky Lynch doll. What a mouthful! She has a calm facial expression and a strong jawline, while her body is more muscular than a standard Barbie. Her hair is a pretty red, but it needs to be white, so it's coming off. Her boots are a perfect base though, so we'll keep them. And there goes her hair. I remove her face with 100% acetone and clean it up with alcohol after. Time to remove her head. I use the hot water method. Using my forceps from Shimmerlocks, I get to work digging out her hair plugs. They're melted in, and while cleaner and less gross, I find them harder to remove. I pierced her ear and pulled out some epoxy sculpt to make little pointed caps. Tiny sculpting is very difficult for me due to nerve damage, but I think I've improved since my last few elves. Once dry, I sanded down the bumps and lumps. I used water to smooth them when wet, but I was hesitant and didn't want to oversaturate the clay. To change her skin tone, you can use a few methods, but I opted for the pastel method. Basically, I layered pan pastels and Mr. Super Clear until I reached the opacity I need. I won't show you guys all the layers because I lost count of how many it took. I've only used this method once, so I can tell you to be careful in handling the doll during this, because you can smudge off the pastel really easily. Nothing more frustrating than that. This method also takes a ton of MSC, so be prepared for that. As usual, it refuses to stick to the joints. I then blushed her using various shades of purple and blue. It looks garish here, but the MSC will darken it. I then sketched out her facial features in light gray. These dolls, like Barbie, have a very small face to work with, so I referred a lot to Hexgen's videos on how to pull it off. Even if I rarely do makeup as fabulous. The problem with dark skin tones is you have to layer white to get other colors opaque, but this gray was being stubborn, so I soon broke out the acrylic paints. I filled in her lips with a dark purple. So Sinjay Bainray. In our current campaign, she's the oldest daughter of House Bainray and is expected to take over after defeating her mother Zilvara. She has 3 sisters, Verena, Elezra, and Jezra, and 3 older brothers, Athen, Avray, and Fainriel. The family rules the Drow Kingdom in Yithros. Fainriel was a chosen of Loth, but not that he cares, and therefore he would do as he pleased and often left to the surface. He'd regale Sinjay with stories of his adventures and planted a deep seed of longing for a better life. As an adult, she had a partner named Raja. Raja only wanted power and didn't particularly care how he got it. Being with Sinjay was an easy way to being the most powerful man in the kingdom, but Sinjay had other plans, so the two agreed to leave for the surface. He never showed. She now travels with a group of misfits and their pets, trying to make the kingdom a better place and keep her companions from getting into too much trouble. She's currently in a relationship with a half-elf lord and has felt love for the first time. However, Loth has reached out to her recently and demands her attention. We'll see how that plays out. I used watercolor pencils for the smaller details, like the waterline and shading in the sclera and irises. I then lined everything in black and added eyelashes. I also added some gray highlights. And her pupils. No catch lights this time. I've since learned that my favorite method is catch lights with resin on top, but for this doll I only used a coat of resin on her eyes and lips. Her original design had gloves, but her nails are too important to hide. The polish is made from bioluminescent mushrooms picked by her best friend Hinosuke. In Yithros, High Elves and Drow really hate each other due to things that happened in history. Hino painting Sinjei's nail while she rested was the first steps to the two girls putting aside their differences. For her hair, I'm using yarn. The yarn wefts are easier to style than nylon and make shorter hairstyles easier to achieve. I brushed out the strands and then straightened them. No, this isn't enough wefts. It never is. I could have made a wig cap, but having made wig caps for heads this size before, I find them bulky. So I went ahead and just glued the wefts directly to her head. Then, using my trusty chopstick and butter knife, I went ahead and styled her hair. I made some loose curls and then took my scissors and chopped up the edges. I want the I cut this with a spare dagger look. I repurposed her boots. I just painted them brown. Added details and sealed with Mod Podge. This is a fuzzy yarn I picked up years ago. It's perfect for doll scaled fur trim. Also, it's very squishy. I used Uhu glue to add the trim to the boots. While those dry, let's pattern out her corset. I used the doll's original top as a base to work with. Transfer that to Warbler. And molded it to her body. Make sure to put plastic wrap on first and don't put the sticky side against the doll. Unfortunately, my phone glitched and I lost most of the footage of working on the corset. What I did on the advice of the witch crafting was warm up the Warbler, then stick the fabric to the outside. I then glued the edges, added a lining inside so it doesn't scratch the doll, and did the trims with bias tape. After that, I poked holes with my awl for lacing. Now I need to make her sword. I had no idea how to do this, but I had Warblood dowels and some time on my hands. I know Drow scimitars are spikier, but I prefer, like, the Sinbad style better. I don't have a dowel cutter, so I use my wire cutters and hope for the best. And it escaped. I used super glue to put the pieces together. Yes, Warbler is sticky, but I want to make sure this is never coming apart. I then painted it black before adding metallic paints. I wrapped the handle in leather, cord, and wire. And then placed this bead on top. I thought it looked like a crystal she might have found in her travels. Her staff of vines is crooked. I designed it myself and the DM loved it. So I got out my big boy wire cutters this time and cut the dowels at an angle several times. To avoid splinters, I sanded the pieces down to the edges. Using wire and hot glue, I went ahead and made the crooked shape. I then used more hot glue to add a wood texture. And more painting! Y'all know the drill by now. Paint black, dry brush the browns, then do a black wash on the whole thing. Please ignore my Chipotle order. The vines are made of more warbler, so I wrapped them around the staff and painted them green. I then added silk leaves and roses. I mentioned pets. Sinjay has several, but I'm going to make 2 of them. Bartholomew the badger is perfect looking, so no work to do there. But Domino the rat is entirely the wrong color, so we got a lot of work to do here. He's also very rubbery, so the paint doesn't want to stick well. But he's a standard brown rat with pink beans and ears. Now for her pants. I've made a pair like this before.
Yeah, that's right. Look at the camera. He's a good boy.
It's a matter of sewing the crotch seams and the inseam, but only having the side seams instead of sewing them together. I also add a snap to the back so you can easily remove them later, if I need to without untying the sides. Once hemmed, my awl got another workout to make the holes for the lacing. I also added eyelets for extra stability. Then I used a long needle to sew up the sides with embroidery thread. I'm going to use these materials to make her belt. No one escapes the duck. Onto her earring. I don't have the proper pins for this, so I just grabbed wire and did my best. It took some glue in the end, but she does indeed have a feather earring. I'm not well versed in jewelry making, but I like how it turned out. I completely forgot about her dragon claw. It was one of her first trophies after our party took down a young black dragon outside a city. So I grabbed some friendly plastic and started molding. This stuff is great, but you have to work fast. Once it was painted, I glued it directly to her belt. time to finally remove that pin and put in your earring. I was terrified I was going to crack her face while doing this, so I was uber gentle.
Te quiero a ti, a ti, a ti, a ti, pero te quiero a ti, a ti, a ti, a ti, a ti, a ti, te quiero a ti.
Her Main of the Manticore is an old 3.5 item. Our DM adapted it over to 5e for her. It's pretty great. I get a poison barb attack that I always forget about. So I just took some suede and painted on the stripes. I then added brown yarn wefts to the tail and collar. I thought I was done. Then wouldn't you know it, that week I gained one more item. A vine crown that gives the ability to speak in wild shape. So now I had to make that. I sculpted it out of cosplay because it stays flexible after baking. And then I broke it. This time I sculpted it into a circle to start with, like a smart person. I bought goggles. They were gorgeous, but my cat took them. So I'm going to try to make a pair in 1/6 scale. They turned out pretty cute. They'll go around her neck. I ended up using Warbler and resin for the lenses. And that's it. I took her outside for some photos, but it was still colder than a witch's titty out there. So I went back inside and took pics with the Hinosuke doll I made for my friend. And there you have it. Man, that was an intense project. I had a good time, and I'm very happy with her. So, of course, soon after being done with this, I resigned her entire outfit completely. Oh well. Well, that's everything. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Hope you enjoyed. See you next month.